Okay, well, welcome everyone to our webinar for the NPF 14 L&D project. And this week we're hearing from the team down at EIT, down at Napier. And they're going to fill us in on what they've been up to and their project. So over to them, over to Catherine to get the ball rolling. Thanks, guys.
Great, thank you. I'm Catherine, so I'm from EIT, Hawke's Bay. This is our team, so we're all from the computing department, along with Stephanie Day, who's our technology facilitator, helper, learning, whatever.
E-learning guru.
E-learning guru, yeah, and everything else. And I'm a mobile learning guru now. So the projects we're going to share with you are going to be from our computing department, but we've also been working with some other departments like the cookery school, the Maori, early childhood, and so those are going to also supplement our stories later on. But for today we've got our School of Computing. We've got a team here, so Robin's going to go first. This is Robin Pascoe. We've got David Skelton, Michael Deerhart, and Ash over there at the end. So I think that's pretty much our order of presentation. So I know we don't have much time, so I'll hand over to Robin to present. So I'm just going to share your screen, so excuse me, I'll just change my location. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, Robin, all yours.
Hi folks. Yeah, I'm Robin Pascoe and I'm a computing lecturer, but I also do a fair bit of, I have taught online for about the last 12 years. It's been a bit of a change for me to actually use technology in the classroom rather than on an online course, but these are the things that I've done and/or planning to do. So evaluation of mobile technology, we've done a survey and I've kind of asked the class what they use and how they use it. We've used Twitter and back channel chat in class, not totally successfully because most of the stuff that I teach is actually software applications, which is hands-on practical stuff and doesn't really lend itself that well to mobile tech, but I'm persevering. So we've used the devices to share information, presentations, that sort of thing, both in and out of class. And I'm experimenting with the use of Jotform, which I think Catherine will probably talk to you a bit about later. Is that right, Catherine? Are you going to talk about Jotform? You're not? Okay. So Jotform is an app which allows the student, it's a creating a form. So it allows them to submit an assignment by entering data in the form. They can add a photo and it all gets uploaded in a PDF to the cloud, which then we can then download as an assignment submission. So I haven't got into serious use of that yet. That's going to come next semester, but I'm quite excited about the thought, which because it means that the student isn't tied to a computer to submit an assignment, so they can add photos and things as they go. So that's the BCS one. The software packages, that was electronic design. The software packages, we've done an evaluation of apps, so as part of their assignment for word processing, instead of formatting a plain old Word document, I've got to do some research and evaluate 5. They had to come up with 5 apps to enhance students' learning. And they had to come up with 5 apps that could be used by lecturers in the classroom or the lecture theatre. And they had to give me a price in New Zealand dollars. They had to give me, if it were free, they had to give me what sort of devices that most of the apps could be used for. So we had started off iOS and Android, and then some of the students asked if they could add Windows phone and tablet apps. So that was quite successful, and they come up with some quite surprising results, which I haven't had time yet, but I'm going to curate the list and put it up on the Google Hangout so everyone can see what everyone else came up with, and I found a couple of new ones as well. so that was all good. I'm getting the software packages students to create short video clips that is on the PC using Jing, and which is a TechSmith product. You may have used it yourself. It's a free app that goes on PCs for, I think, both Mac and Windows, and it creates a little video which is uploaded to screencast.com and a link created for you to put up on an LMS or give out to students. So they're, instead of doing the practical hands-on Excel function exercise, they're actually demonstrating using Jing and uploading. And then we are going to share those little videos with current and future students, and they can access screencast.com on phones or tablets. And the last one is the use of mirrorcast technology, which plugs into the data show, and it enables me to walk around the classroom or students to actually present from their own iPads or tablets or whatever through the data show. So that's been quite successful. The students showed quite a lot of interest in using that. So that's about the sum total of what I'm currently doing and a little bit about what I'm going to be doing next semester.
Hi there, I'm David Skelton, and I've been teaching on e-business strategies and a research paper as well. So some of my postgraduate students are sort of interested in this field as well and have been doing some research on the impact on society of mobile and IT. The other thing I have been playing with is using Twitter inside the computer labs, and that's had some mixed success with students' devices. But after the class, it has been quite good, for following up students and also combining that in with my program coordination duties and following up students and getting them linked with industry, so that has been quite helpful. For my e-business third year bachelor's class, I did set up a Google Plus community, and students joined that while they were going through one of their major assignments. The photo there you can see one of our Gisborne students. We have a remote campus in Gisborne, and this student was able to communicate or make a presentation through using Bambuser. Just down the bottom there too, which is more really from your researcher's point of view, is I did my PhD thesis on blended learning environment, and so one of the ideas I had is that how could you fit mobile learning inside a blended learning environment framework, and what is the proportion of influence. But that's not really my activity as a participant, but it might be something that you guys are interested in. Yep. And the other thing I've been doing recently this semester in IT management is experimenting with the EasyCast system for student presentations in class. So you can see one of our students there, third year bachelor's or graduate diploma, presenting on IT Does It Matter, which is also kind of related to this integration of mobile in society. The room was quite interesting in that it has two projectors, one at a right angle which we were using for the EasyCast through mobile devices, and the other projector was using the traditional PowerPoint and projector. So we were swapping in and out. So one student group would present through EasyCast, through the iPhones, and then another group would flick into traditional PowerPoint. So we were able to sort of see the contrast. And obviously, as you probably already know, that the Apple devices were a lot smoother to get running on this. Students with Android needed to install the app, and it was a little bit more difficult to organise. But as IT students, they were actually quite interested in the process as well, so they weren't just there as participants, but they actually wanted to know how to set it up and how to plug in the cables. And so it was sort of like a double learning experience for them. And that's me. Thank you.
Do you want me to switch up to your presentation?
Yeah, okay, that sounds good. And just overview.
Oh, just the overview?
Yeah, I'll just
Okay.
go there and start off. Hi, my name's Oops, I got a transition, sorry. My name's Ditch. It happens to me all the time as well. I'm one of the lecturers here at EIT, and I teach network administration, web hosting, help desk, and operating systems. I started using mobile devices initially. If you just want to go one slide. I started looking at mobile devices as a tool for myself a few years back, and how I can actually make my life a lot easier. And one of the first tools I took a look at was an attendance app called Teacher's Attaché. I found it a very useful tool in going ahead and quickly taking attendance in class, as opposed to our current system that we have here. And then I was looking at how to make use of it as a presentation tool, making use of Apple TV, ad hoc wireless hotspots, and that seemed to work quite nicely. It allowed me to kind of walk around class and switch between slides and pop up videos on demand when I needed to, anything that was kind of stored already on my mobile device there. And also allowed me to go ahead and demonstrate additional applications that are on the App Store, such as a subnetting calculator to help benefit those students in my network administration class who found it difficult subnetting a network. The subnet calculator helped them out to understand subnet masks, IP addresses, and how to go ahead and create multiple different networks and getting them to communicate. And then as a resource as well for myself, where I can go ahead and get ebooks on the subject matters that I'm actually teaching, so I can always refresh myself with new material and keep my actual classes up to date. And video tutorials. I tend to create a lot of video tutorials for my students, especially for the labs. And they use that as a tool for themselves. And if we just can go to the next slide and just go ahead and expand on that. They can go ahead and use my tutorials in class when they're doing their lab sessions. So they'll go ahead and...
We seem to be stuck on one slide, Catherine.
Oh,
just got the one that's got courses, help desk, operating systems, and a photo.
I'll reshare.
Sorry about that.
No,
I
no,
could hear you clicking, so but it's just a static picture there. We could hear you fine, so.
Sorry, I'll just get back to where we were.
Right. Okay, so I've gone ahead and created a whole bunch of pre-recorded instructional videos for my students, and they actually use their mobile devices to watch those videos while they're actually doing the labs. So it's become quite beneficial going ahead and creating content for students to make use of in the class while they're doing their work. Additionally, students... Oops.
Oh, sorry.
That's right. Students tend to also record me while I'm doing either my lectures or in class demonstrations. So they have a record, so much record, but a resource there that they can go ahead and fall back on to kind of recap what they actually learned that day. We also tend to use it for scheduling group demonstrations in class, and students also have the ability to go ahead and make use of it as a tool to review iBooks, EPUBs, and particular files, PDF files that I kind of direct them to as additional reading for their course. And then there's also research in class products. What I mean by that is normally I'll throw topics out to my students in the lectures, and I get them to use their mobile devices to go ahead and provide me information about a specific topic. So I really encourage mobile devices in my lecture, because I'll often spring on something to the students where they have to go ahead and do a quick research and provide some feedback in the classroom. So those are ways I go ahead and make use of technology in the classroom, but I had to take a look at how I could go ahead and make use of technology as assessments as well. So I trialed something out last year using Inkling Habitat to go ahead and create a cloud-based iBook authoring kind of a solution. It was all right. It wasn't as refined as a product such as iBook Author, and it had a number of shortcomings. This year, I went ahead and made use of iBook Author. We have a number of Macs in our library, and students in our help desk class, one of their assignments is to create a user guide for a client. in the past, it's been just a PDF document that's been printed up and given to the customer. This year, I went ahead and had all the students make use of the iBook Author. I provided them with training tutorial videos on how to make use of that product, and they went ahead and created some really stunning visual content. It also allowed them to allow the students to go ahead and create learning material that enhanced their own research skills. It provided a way for reflective learning through the creation of interactive content. It provided a way of knowledge sharing to other people with Apple devices. The only limitation is that you're stuck with that Apple ecosystem because the iBooks are only valid for that product set. You can't actually get them working on an Android. So I just had one of my students' examples there I wanted to show you, and this is just a title page. So nicely structured and formatted for a title page. And if we go to the next slide, we have a...
Still just stuck on one slide there, Catherine, so we're on the assessment slide.
Oh.
There we go, now we're on the next one. Cool.
So each of these icons here has a hotspot to it. So if you click on any of those icons, it'll give you a brief description about what those products do. And if you go to the next slide, here we have a nicely formatted layout of content with a mixture of image representation. So the image itself can go ahead and be expanded with a bit more brief description about certain sections of that screen. And if we go here, we can go ahead and take a look that students went ahead and demonstrated how YouTube can be used within a Mac environment, and with a little video attached to that. And then here we have an example of a question and answer session where the students didn't make use of the normal tools that Apple provides in iBook Author for creating questions and answers. But what he's gone ahead and done is he's given 10 questions there, and you basically just click on each of the questions to actually get the answer. So in this way, the students has had to go out, research, or put together, formulate some questions, and formulate some answers there for those questions. And lastly, I went ahead and questioned my students in regards to their use of iBook Author. The students actually enjoyed using iBook Author as a publishing tool. They found that iBook Author was quite intuitive and easy to use and learn. And those students who thought Mac was just one of those hideous products out there actually changed their mind and actually enjoy working on a Mac and would actually prefer to have a Mac nowadays. Overall, the students did extremely well with their assessments and created some really impressive work, and their clients were really impressed as well. And lastly, I have explored using iTunes University and pretty much have the majority of all my courses up there as a replicate to what I have on Moodle. And that's for anybody that has an Apple device if they want to make use of it.
Okay, thank you. I'll just close that down and I'll share back with Michael.
We've got a few questions in the chat. If you want to maybe open that and you can read through what Michael's doing his and think about those possibly.
All right, let's actually, if we stop quickly and we answer them, if that's okay. Do we have a link for the dot form? Do you remember what the link was? I think if you just Google dot form.
They've actually got a site, and I think it's just jotform.
Probably .com, maybe.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Google. It will come up at the top of Google anyway. Jotform. It's one word.
Yeah. Spelt like that. What the good thing about the dot form is that it allows you to create a form very easily. It's just a drag and drop, no coding necessary. Is there a Google plugin for Google Docs? Sorry, Vikal.
Yeah, Jotform, actually you can access it from Google Docs as well.
Yes, so you can, content.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, so the content will actually go into the Google Doc, yeah. Share the student videos on G+, that's great. Chromecast. We've had problems with Chromecast here, haven't we? You've tried that especially.
I've tried Chromecast. It doesn't work on our system. I've got one called Miracast or Measy, which is fairly freely available, especially from AliExpress.com, if you're familiar with AliExpress. And it cost about, it was under $20 anyway, and it arrived within a week. And it seems to work quite well with our data projectors. It also works fine with your TV at home to use YouTube or something on your TV. So
we had the same problems, issues here with Chromecast. We tried them here and it didn't work on the network, whereas the Apple TV works fine. Yeah.
Yeah, we've also had a problem with Apple TV because we're apparently told that you can only have one account for the Apple TV. Isn't that correct? What was that?
The
early childhood we're using.
And we've got the double authentication to get on the website, and the Apple TV doesn't allow.
Though you did use that fine, didn't you, Tom, when you're here? It's just on the guest account. It's not on our usual account that we've had problems.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We just use the mirroring feature. We don't use it for the content, so that's not an issue for us.
Yeah, yeah. All right, I'll just hand you over to the one last person, and then we'll open to questions again, if that's okay.
Yeah. Never quite sure why you missed me out.
No.
That seems to be one of those things. Okay, welcome everybody this morning. I'm Michael Bearhart, and what I teach is multimedia, internet, web, and digital learning tech. I'm pretty lucky in digital learning tech because it allows me to play with technology. One of the things that happened a few years ago is EIT merged with Tarapati, and they improved the quality of service in Adobe Connect. So I've been using that for the last couple of years. In my digital learning tech class, I get guest speakers to come in, and in this particular session, Steph was doing something on learning design, and one of the things that we were going to do is to actually go and do a field trip. So we decided to throw all the technology in one hit and see how much we could do in about an hour and a half. So just to take you through, the first thing we did, we set up a blog using Blogger. We decided that we would set it up in two ways. One is that they could email directly into the blog using a shared email account. Disadvantage of that was that we didn't know which students would actually email into it because it was a standard account. So we then set up every student in the class so that they could either use a mobile device or a PC to, I guess, communicate with what they found on the field trip. It had all sorts of interesting things. Because it was in Google's ecosystem, they all needed a Google account, and that actually made it quite complicated to get all the students up and running. So we started about 2 weeks out before we could get them all up online, and even to the end of it, we still didn't get everybody in the class. So we went to the music suite, which again, Tom Pirard, who's in the picture on the left and on the yellow t-shirt, used something called Phoronix as a classroom management software. So our students were actually looking at how that was done. Now you'll see I'm there with a laptop showing Adobe Connect, which is actually just outside the music suite. So we were broadcasting live. Now in terms of broadcasting, web conferencing, we had students on multiple mobile devices, both while they were here on campus, but we also had about 12 students in all different parts of Hawke's Bay also participating in it in various devices. I think we had one in the, a couple around the campus as well, just from learning from EDC as well. So we really threw everything we could at it. And the idea, of course, was that at the end the students would reflect on what they saw and reflect on using devices, using Adobe Connect, all those sorts of things. Finally, after we'd done the presentation, we did a focus discussion, and you can see I've got a link there which is a Google Doc. So Steph came through again, and the two of us were talking. I think what we did, we used Google Docs to manage the facilitation of that discussion. So in terms of innovation, we looked at mobile devices, and as I said, we threw everything at it. And in terms of inclusion, you can see we looked at students both face-to-face and remote. And we looked at very much experiential learning, so it really was trying to throw absolutely everything. Transformation, some posts since the session. So we've got, in my class, I've got blogs that students can add to, I guess, add extra content. I used Twitter many years ago, and I gave up on it as Twitter started filtering. So I lost a hell of a lot of the stuff that the students were doing. So unfortunately, I've got my own blog. Students said to me that unfortunately they're not blogging a lot, but there are a few of them now that are starting to getting into blogging, which was a good outcome. Just in terms of why students like doing things, or how I can encourage them to use the blogs and use the mobile stuff. I use an exam question in one of my internet classes, and you see it's there. During the course, you've been having many current and trending issues discussed. Identify 2 current and trending issues that have been covered elsewhere in the paper, but not been and discuss their importance. So the idea is to try to say during the course they can find things, blog on them, and then I can use them as an assessment item, which works quite well. So I guess the final bit is Steph and I are putting together that and all the bits and pieces and putting a paper together for Citrons, which is going to be later on this year. So that's it from us, and thanks very much for Steph. If you've got anything to say?
No, I just think it's an opportunity to look about how mobile can be used further in the field. I know we only did it around campus, but to see how it would cope in areas in the trades and building and things where they're working outside of EIT, to include people maybe who can't turn up for the day for whatever they're doing. So.
Yeah, I think with most of our students being IT students, they're almost like fellow participants in this research, and that they're thinking it through our eyes as well, and not just being the recipients, but they're thinking, like in Michael's class, you know, he's basically training them to do our job, really. So.
And they were quite good. Some of the reflective stuff gave a lot of thought to how the issues around the mobile use and stuff. Yeah, and the learning design about when you're going to be using a mobile tool. A lot of them thought quite heavily about that, so that's quite good.
In IT management, you know, they're looking at management of technology, which mobile is one component. So they're often doing work in the whole BYOC field.
And if you guys want to see it, that link on the PowerPoint is the blog itself, so you can see what the students actually blogged.
And the blog, the PowerPoints will be available up on Google+. So I'll pop that in there, and maybe an example of your iBook.
I'll get a couple of iBooks up there for you. I will be trying to get them published up onto the iBook store anyhow, as a free content and a resource for others to make use of.
And also your iTunes U as well.
Yeah.
Yep, we'll give you the links to those as well.
Hey, well, thanks, guys. That was really awesome. Really enjoyed that presentation. It's just fantastic to see the progress you've made, and really encourage you that you're really great to see that you're focusing on student-generated content and experiences, which is absolutely fantastic. So I guess if anyone else has got questions, we should throw it open for a few minutes. So we've got Dee, we've got Claudio, we've got Emily, Vickle. Any of you got any questions that you want to ask the team?
I was going to ask David Skelton. If,
He's running.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep. I was going to ask David Skelton what the sort of mixed results he had with Twitter were, because I've had issues with Twitter as well, and I'm trying to figure out, you know, what I could do differently. But, you know, what sort of age students do you have, and what were the issues you had with Twitter?
Yeah, well, I guess it's that private professional boundary is one issue, that they're following you on Twitter after the class. I guess the classroom experience wasn't so good because not everybody was able to do it all at once, and we weren't able to get all the, you know, all the tweets coming through in the class. But I think the benefits mainly were after the class or later on, when, you know, I wanted to communicate with the students, and that was just one more channel to keep a continuous flow of communication going. So, whether it's be their device or their Twitter feed, and you end up with actual third year or postgraduate students who are communicating with you through Twitter, and to me, I don't really mind. So I'm able to do a lot of other housekeeping work through those channels, really, setting students up into internships and that sort of thing. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, tell me what age students you have. How are they IT students?
Yeah, well, they're everywhere from school leaver 19, 20-year-olds through to 30-somethings who are retraining. So a very wide mixture, plus a growing number of internationals as well, who are also 20s and 30s. So quite a mixture.
And was it optional for them to engage with Twitter, or was it compulsory?
Yeah, it was optional, but in that particular class, probably some pressure was put on them to get into it.
Yeah.
And some of them didn't actually have Twitter accounts, so it's a good excuse to get them going with Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the sad part is that 2 years ago I had almost every class Twittering. Now I have about 2. And that's the problem, is that they're not using it anymore.
It's gone out of favour.
It's gone. And as I said, the downslide for us from an educational perspective was when they started filtering.
So explain what you mean by filtering.
Well, filtering means that the students post and they don't turn up. So we don't see their posts.
Through the hashtag.
Yeah, so only top tweets show. So unless you're a continual tweeter using that hashtag, it gets lost in the feed.
Yeah.
I think young adults tend to jump on the next bandwagon for social media quite quickly. So even, I'll give an example. I know my daughter, Snapchat, Instagram. Those are the only 2 that she uses. And that's about it.
So the immediacy in the class may not be so good for 100% coverage, but over a 6-week period, it can be still quite beneficial, I feel.
What was interesting is I was Michael's student in 2009, and Twitter was bigger then, eh? We had a really big Twitter community in 2009.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, 6 years on,
it's died.
It's died.
Yeah. I find it quite good for helping students with their research, from the news media type research. So if they follow good entities, they can actually build up a really nice feed for their own assignments and research.
And that's where
I think it's very much defined by context as well. I mean, certainly for journalism, it's become the channel and news. So it depends on the context, I think.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do, if I can change into blogs, but it's not being as successful, unfortunately. But we'll work on it and see what happens.
Yeah, I like Google Plus community for a lot of that stuff. The interaction and sharing links, because that's really what I was using it for. I was sharing links, and Google Plus was doing that well. And plus, it was in context, so it was within that post they could reply to. Google Plus is okay on a mobile device. It could be better, but yeah.
Cool. Any other questions?
Yes, I have one question for Isvan.
Yes.
You mentioned you have students recording your classes sometimes. Do you have some sort of pre-agreement or rule of engagement regarding their recording?
You mean recording me, or repeat that, sorry, again? Right here.
Do you have some rules in terms of students recording you in class?
Oh, no, I'm fine with that. To be honest, I find that in my classroom, every student is quite different. They all have different comprehension levels and different learning levels. So if it makes it easier for them to kind of recap the whole lecture or the whole lab lesson, I'm quite fine with that. It's more beneficial for them to get good results in my classroom and have a better understanding of the material and recap it as often as possible.
Yeah, the other thing I do, of course, is all my classes are fully Adobe Connect recorded. So I do it as a teacher, which is, got some interesting issues as well.
Like what, for example?
So in Adobe Connect, all the stuff that I present is actually recorded for the students.
With Michael, he's got Adobe Connect running within a classroom situation, so he's teaching to a normal group of students face to face, and then he records it. So there are some students that are connecting at a distance, but yeah.
Yeah, and it's all recorded for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As well as broadcast live.
Yeah, which really seems to help the international students because they can go back and have another look.
Do you see some?
I understand.
Okay, well, I think probably last question, if anyone's got a burning question, because we're over half an hour now, which is great. But any burning questions? No. Okay. Well, hey, great work, guys. Really enjoyed that, and looking forward to seeing your presentation on Google+. That would be awesome if you could share that with us. And looking forward to catching up on September the 10th again as well. Hopefully we'll have a bit more discussion from a few more people joining in. And just thank you very much. Awesome. Thanks, team.
Have that coffee.
See you later.
Yeah.